Okay, I think it's close enough to 11 o'clock. We've got 30 minutes. First of all, thank you all for joining today. And I feel honored to be here today because, I was looking at Rebecca's conversation earlier, and to be amongst so many incredible leaders, it's just an honor. I'm talking to you from the Bay Area, Northern California. On the question side, so there's going to be a couple of people, Esther and Tara, that may be answering questions to you. But I've got about a 20-minute presentation, and then we're going to go right into questions for about 10 minutes, and I'm going to be jumping off at 11:30, and I'll jump over to the VIP section. So I'm kind of guessing you're here because you saw this title, like hyperscale, breaking through the grind. And either you're like trying to hyperscale your business, and you're like, okay, what's Prem going to share with us today? Or you've had a business, and you've kind of hit a barrier, and you don't know kind of where to go. Well, I'm kind of excited about it because I've hit barriers, I've hit grind. It's kind of like the whole world's on your shoulder and you don't know how to kind of get out of your own way. But that's kind of what I'm going to talk about and some of the learnings that I've had. Before I start, I want to talk a little bit about my background. This is a 1,300 square foot house close to Chico, California, which is where I grew up. I had 5 sisters, 2 brothers, mom and dad. There was 10 of us in this 1,300 square foot house, so it was kind of tight. And my dad was a farmer. So at the age of 7, I started driving tractors. I remember sitting on this, we call it the Johnny, but it's a John Deere tractor. I'd grab the steering wheel and push down on the clutch trying to get it to go. I couldn't even imagine my daughter driving a tractor. She's 15 years old. I looked at the way my dad made business decisions, and he would always look at the revenue. Like, okay, we're going to plant milo. Milo is a seed for cattle. We're going to plant milo and we're going to make X amount per acre, but not really thinking about what's it going to cost for irrigation, seed, cultivation, all of the other things behind it. And I really have challenged my team on the data side to really understand all components so that we can make decisions. I left. My dad went bankrupt a couple of times. So food, clothing, it was very minimalistic. And we decided to move to the Bay Area. And I started with a company called High Technology Logistics, moving computers and systems like desktop servers, network from point A to point B. They also did warehousing, distribution, and they did office moves. So I really liked the technology side, and I really wanted to focus in on the technology side. So I decided to kind of start my own thing. And I started this company called Milestone in 1997. I'm going to read the descriptions here real quick. When you start a business, you have a creation, like I'm going to create an idea. I was sitting in a bar with a cocktail napkin thinking, how much money can I make and what's it going to cost me, and kind of etching it out a little bit. Then you launch it. And all of a sudden you get some customers, you get some growth, you get stability. And then you hit this part, which I call the grind, which is you can't seem to scale anymore because you've hit some barrier. You're making the same decisions. You're understanding the business the same as it was before, and you can't seem to get out of your own way. So my story was I put a business plan together for Milestone, and I had about $250,000 in my house, pulled it all out, ready to go, present my mom my sales, marketing, strategy plans, and operational plans. And she's like, no, it's so hard to do. Your dad lost the farm twice, literally, and you're talking about doing this again. For me, I just felt like this was my purpose. I need to go this way. So I started Milestone, and Milestone is an IT services company that does data center network infrastructure support globally. And 6 months after I started it, my $250,000 was $30,000. And I was like, what the heck did I just do? I've just lost everything that I've worked so hard to gain in equity. But then it happened. Our first deal happened and we started to grow. We started to go into that launch growth mode. We landed Novell, which was a big customer for us. The CEO of that company, Eric Schmidt, went over and became CEO of Google. We started working with Google when there were a couple thousand people. People left Google over to this social networking company. We started working with those guys when they were a couple of hundred people in downtown Palo Alto. And we just started to grow. But in 2011, this barrier happened for me. And I couldn't quite figure out how to do it. So I surrounded myself with smarter people than me. And I started to grow and scale again. So we brought on a leadership coach, operational folks, salespeople, and marketing as well. And so from 2011 to 2015, we took the organization to a couple of thousand employees globally in about 30 some odd countries. And there was so much learnings. I mean, I didn't go to school. I went to school, but I went to 9 months of college and then I dropped out because I felt like, working from 7 years old all the way up. It's like, I know everything. I didn't know everything. I realize now, I wish I knew more. But anyways, I ended up putting the company for sale. So a company called HIG, a private equity, ended up buying us, a majority share. And in 2017, I stepped down as CEO. So I wanted to take all of this learnings and apply it to like an e-commerce business. Like, how do I go out and apply all of this stuff to an e-commerce business? And so I started this company called Growth Factors, and we go out and invest in companies to help them grow and scale. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Growth Factors. If you Google it, Growth Factors are proteins, are natural proteins in our body that allow us to grow, organize, communicate, heal, and they also allow for cell proliferation. So imagine a company being like a living, breathing entity. What would it take for a company to have these kind of growth factors? Because we all need growth, we all need organization and communication and healing, and we need the scale. So kind of the concept between the company and the name is, how do we inject growth factors into organizations to allow them to grow? So my first company that we ended up buying was a company called Three Bird Nest. I met Alicia in 2018. She is a energetic, smart, creative, passionate person. And I just kind of connected to her and her passion. And her passion was, when we first bought the company, we sat down and was like, hey, what's our purpose? What's our mission? And it's to inspire and empower people to express themselves through personal style. And so on the right hand, I don't know what it looks like on the screen, but you can see me. Alexa is one of our models, and Alicia is on the left-hand side of the picture. And the name of the company is an interesting story as well. She was telling me that when she was trying to create the name, she's trying to like, what am I going to do with the name? And she has a tattoo with a nest with her 3 kids, 3 birds. And so there comes Three Bird Nest. So we ended up acquiring a majority share in 2018. And we're going to close just a little less than 10 million. So at the end of 2017, she closed with a little over 3 million. So we are in a hyper growth kind of a scenario, and we've got some pretty good plans for next year as well. So talk about growth factors. Talk about what are the things that make companies successful. Like, one company can do the same products and services as another company, but it succeeds and the other one kind of like just sits there. There are so many things in organizations that you have to look for. I've got 20 minutes. I'm going to only talk about 3 of them. Purpose. Why are you in business? Data-driven operations. Like, how do you make decisions that align to your purpose that allows you to grow and scale? And then customer experience. What is your approach? Like, if your purpose is inspire and empower, how does that get into every single group in your organization so that when a customer comes to you, it makes sense to them? I'm going to talk about purpose first. And before I start talking about purpose, I'm going to go back to my childhood for a second. There was a time that in high school, there was a wear your best outfit today, or to school day. And of course, I had jeans and shirts, and I really didn't have anything. So my sister Shanti went out to a fabric store, bought a McCall's pattern, if you know what a McCall's pattern is, and bought fabric, sat down at the Singer sewing machine, and went to town. And I wore this to school, and I got compliments. I look at that outfit now, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would not wear that today. But at that time, I felt a dopamine hit. Like, I felt powerful. I felt like, wow, this is really cool, which is why I really liked Alicia and her purpose in life. I don't know if you've ever heard of a gentleman called Simon Sinek, but he did this talk called The Why. I listened to it in 2011, which is a part of what helped me start to grow and scale, and really focusing on purpose. Because he goes on to say, like, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, how do your employees know what to align to? How do your customers know who your brand is or who your identity is? So purpose has a lot to do with people being able to wake up in the morning and say, I want to go do this. I don't want to wake up to go do a job. I want to go wake up to inspire and empower people. And then also, how does purpose come across every aspect of your business? How do you inspire people on your website? How do you inspire people on your ads? How do you make, styling and putting clothing together so that when people look at it, it's like, yeah, I like that. That's inspiring. The next one is data-driven business decisions. When we took over, and you guys all know this, we have Shopify as our core engine, but there are so many applications that tie to Shopify, from email to SMS to all of our marketing channels to all of our warehousing and distribution and our financial systems and our banking systems. And there's no way to really, except for maybe download some stuff and do some VLOOKUPs in Excel, there's no way to get data across all of those channels. So what we did is we kind of put everything together. It's an app called glue.io, and it has a data warehouse in it. So through APIs, it connects our applications together, and there's a BI, business intelligence tool, that sits on top of it, that now we can say, I want to know about this. Like, for example, if I want to know how much product I'm selling on a specific item, how much I have on hand, and when it's going to run out, and do I have any on order, and should I order it? Those would be in 3 different systems in our company right now. And so somebody would have to sit there manually and say, here's what I've ordered, here's what I have on hand, and here's what we've been selling. So therefore, I need to go order another 500 of these. Well, now we put these tools in the hands of the people that really need it so we can make decisions based on that. And then I started thinking about, what would a marketing ad look like? Like, if we were to take a look at our purpose, which is inspire and empower, and we were to take a look at all the data about our customers, like who are they, where are they, what would an advertisement look like for us? So I wanted to share this quick video. Hopefully it works, or not. Ready or not, here I come. Hopefully that came through. I'm not too sure if it did or not, because of course, internet is internet, and playing a video over the internet with voice and audio is kind of complicated. So that's kind of how it came out. So hopefully you guys got a gist of what that looked like. The last piece I want to talk about is customer experience. Let me just check a time check here. I'm doing pretty good. So the last piece is customer experience. So we have purpose, we have data that tells us what we're doing within the organization. Then how do we use the data to take all of our groups and then align it back to our purpose, which is to inspire and empower people to express themselves through personal style? A couple things. One, customer service is the one time that somebody is actually talking to our customers face to face. And how do we make sure that the voice of our company and everything that we do, from the emails that we send out to, hey, your order's been placed, we got your order, all the way through that process, that entire chain is consistent. And the other thing we do with customer experience is not just look at when the customer hits our site or when they look at an ad, but we really defined who is our customer before they're our customer, and what is that person's decision-making process to say, I want to look for some boho clothing. What is making people look at boho clothing, and try to understand where those groups are through analytics, and then being able to drive more and more traffic to us. I also want to talk a little bit about logistics. In the world of Amazon, we got hit pretty hard during March 17th, COVID, shelter in place. We had thousands of orders. We had a shelter in place. We couldn't go into the facility. And when we could go, we could only have a couple of people in the facility because of CDC requirements. So what we've done since then is we've invested in an automation system. This is not a distribution center from somebody else. This is what we are doing because we want to grow and scale. And so what we want to do is give the customer a better experience. Think about COVID. Order it today, maybe 4 weeks later, you'll get it. What we want to do is you order it today, an hour afterwards, you get an email saying, hey, your order's been placed or shipped. Now that experience is going to give us a lot more loyalty from our customers. That experience is going to enable us to be able to do more with our customers as well. So customers want it today. Even I look at Amazon, I'm like, okay, this one's going to come day after tomorrow. This one comes tomorrow. Click, I'll do the one tomorrow. It's just the world that we live in today. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share on the customer experience side. Good, I got 15 minutes. So these are just 3 growth factors. Purpose, why are you in business? And what is that purpose? 2, data-driven. How do you look at data? Where do you capture the data from? And what do you use that data for? And then 3 is the customer experience, the journey of your customer every single time. And how does that play out? And how well do you know that? And so applying these kinds of growth factors, like at Milestone, 2011, hit the barrier, world is on my shoulders, breakthrough to 2,000 people. Started with Alicia and her creativity and just her passion, and we've been able to grow the organization here as well. So I'm going to, there's a couple more things I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about a story because it does tie back to our purpose. And so we get letters all the time. This letter we received from a mom, and the mom was talking about how she's always tried on clothes, didn't fit her well, and she really loves our clothes because they fit well, they lay well, and it made her feel good. And then her son would compliment her like, "Mom, you look so good." And she had a tragedy in her life, and her son passed away. And it's emotional because I have a daughter. I couldn't even imagine what she must have went through. But she was like, okay, my son loved me in my clothes. I'm going to go see him one last time at the funeral. And what do I want to wear? And she wrote this letter saying that she wore one of our dresses. And to be able to communicate that, first of all, to know that we made that kind of an impact to somebody that is hurting is just, it's incredible. 2, we communicate that to our people, like, hey, this is what we do. And this is why we wake up in the morning. This is why we want to buy those outfits and put the digital assets out there and make sure that our website looks the way it does and make sure that our packaging has 3 bird nest all over it and the guys and gals are going to get it within 2 or 3 days. But that is what kind of pulls it all back together again, is purpose. So for me, I think if I can give any advice in this whole conversation in 18 minutes is don't align yourself to a person, a company, an organization, or a project. I think you need to align yourself to a mission, a calling, a purpose. And that's how we keep our power. That's how we keep our peace. I don't want to wake up and say, I want to go do a job. I want to wake up and say, I want to go help somebody today. And that's what purpose is all about. So I'm going to go into Q&A. I think we've got about 10 minutes left or so. And I don't know how to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this and that. Okay, so bear with me for a second. I'm very new to this. I should be able to do this considering, you know, I owned a technology company. Okay. All right. Okay, so I wanted to kind of go out there, and somebody said, I think I own those pants. Nice, very nice. I don't know if there's any questions or not because I was in full mode, so there are no questions. Great, I love it. I think I got some time back in my life. If you have any questions, just put them in chat. So we just got a question here. Let's see. It says, given there are a million things to do at the start of a business, is the mission one of the first things you develop or something that evolves over time? Well, I think mission and purpose have to be thought about. It's not going to be like, hey, I just got to go focus on this, because you got to go get business. You got to get sales and marketing and all of these other things set up. But if you were to think about sales, or I'm sorry, if you were to think about the purpose or the mission, then when you go and put your marketing together or your sales channels or your website and all of that, then you align it to that, as opposed to I'm just going to go create it and then it kind of feels a little bit patchy. Good question though. Okay. So I don't know if there's any other questions. So I am going to probably jump off. I'm going to jump over to, thanks. How has your automated system been working for you? So we installed it about 3 weeks ago. What you saw in the video is actually a test mode. And in the test mode, we're going to be able to do about 1,000 to 1,200 orders in about 5 hours or 6 hours. We are not in full production yet. We don't go live until the end of October. So there's a lot of configuration that has to go between Shopify, our WMS, which is Ship Hero, and then Perfect Pick, which is a system, and how all of this stuff communicates together. So we've been doing all the development around the IT infrastructure to make sure that that works properly. But I could probably let you know, Leonard, in about a month and a half how that's working out for us. Chad, absolutely. I wake up. I mean, honestly, when COVID happened, I was completely lost sight of the mission. I was like, okay, it's survival mode. What are we going to do? Everybody had to go do that. But back to it. We have to always come back to it. I mean, think about it. I went from technology and, supporting some of the biggest companies in the world in technology to e-commerce. And I don't know fashion. I don't know. I mean, you saw my suit. It was not good. I don't know fashion. So I have to rely on something other than just the product. I have to rely on the purpose and the data and all of that and run it like a business. What is a goal and when do you want, what is the goal? Well, I think there's all kinds of goals that we have, but if I were to think about our brand and who we are as a company and think about what Alicia originally set off to do, which is to grow this organization so that more and more people feel like the mom, like I feel good in these clothes. So our goal isn't necessarily financial. It's more, how do we get more and more people to be a part of this, be a part of our community, be a part of this inspiration and empowerment? Hopefully that answered it. My sister Shanti is on. She thought that the suit was really nice, by the way. All right, I think that's it. Is there any other questions? Did you guys? Oh, does the automated system integrate with Shopify? Okay, so Shopify, of course, sends orders to our WMS system, and we use Ship Hero. There's a lot of different applications out there. And so Ship Hero is the one that receives the orders that we've been manually putting and then pulling from the warehouse, packaging and shipping out. So now what we do is instead of the order going to a person, the order goes to Perfect Pick at 25 orders at a time. And so when Perfect Pick gets it, it knows exactly what the SKU is, where it's located in that entire structure, and brings a bin to you. And we can do about 300 some odd picks an hour. And that's the number of presentations it does. And it's all light. So when it comes, it lights up saying, pick this product. And then these 25 bins light up. One of them says, put me here. So it's taking this product and putting it in here. And that's the order. That's the link between it. But it's an integration. So Shopify does not connect directly to Perfect Pick. It goes through Ship Hero through a middleware. But I just wanted to say thank you. And I appreciate you being here. And I'm honored that you got to listen to this today. So thanks.